didn't want to bother with it. One of the reasons for that is the board is often afraid to come to you and say, we need more money. So they avoid the issue altogether, and then this sort of thing. And it's the next. I'm concerned about some of the people I've talked to who say, I do not have sufficient income to pay this $4,100. That's going to be a serious problem, even if they split it on a 20-50 basis, half and half. Now, if you don't pay your dues, you can end up with a lien on your property by the homeowners association. We don't want that kind of situation. That can lead to foreclosures and all kinds of things.
In addition to that, isn't there the requirement that everyone has to have their windows redone by this point in time?
Yeah.
So some people may have that as an added big expense if they haven't winterized their units.
Yeah. One of my major concerns, and Mark mentioned this, Brian, is that they want to talk to us. The board of directors wants to try to discuss and justify their proposed assessment on the 27th of August, and let the billing date's supposed to start the 1st of September. My comment is that I don't see how they've allowed us sufficient time to challenge it. You should also know that we are allowed to challenge their estimates. They cannot pass that without the consensus of homeowners, nor can they raise the homeowners' dues. So they're in a position, whether they know it or not, where they have to talk to us. And unless you want to spend your kids' Christmas money next year, I would like to have you understand we have to be effective.
Woody, what do you mean consensus? Because the actual numbers for a quorum are greater than we will ever see.
Well, we have a lot of absentee owners too. But here's my point. Put them in an argument. Don't concede. Don't acquiesce. It's your money. We own this project, not the board, although some of them are members and they are owners of this project. Don't let them intimidate you and tell you this is the way it's going to be. Stuff the thing up your nose. That's common on board of directors.
Woody, can I ask you a question, Woody?
I'll tell you what, can you hold your questions till we get to it, please? Okay, question raised, I heard somebody talking a while ago. Do we have a right to see the financial records of the homeowners association? You bet we do, and that can't be contested. Clearly spelled out in bylaws and in the state bylaw program. And you also have a right, which I just did, to see the CBA audit. And I saw a couple of things in there that disturbed me.
What was that audit?
Audit, CBA audit,
CB?
done for this year,
CPA.
December of 2012. That's required in the bylaws.
CBA.
A certified public accountant gave you an audit.
CBA is certified public accountant. What do you
CPA?
Past year 990.
Okay, and he made some comments on this too, the governing state document, if you want to look at it, download it, just for fun, it's called the Colorado Common Interest Ownership Act. They amended it with some minor amendments a couple times. This is what makes the rules, and board of directors cannot override those rules or create those rules that are they're set forth in this document. They can do such things, however, as say you can't smoke in the lobby, you can't have dogs in the place, you can't have charcoal grills on the deck. There's good reason for that. We've had 2 major fires on this project. One building burned pretty bad. And you can be penalized if you violate those rules. I went to the board, and they're going to be considering that. And I said, there's a great number of people here who are few are successful, and we want to have a serious discussion. I also said you are obligated to provide supportive data. You want to see the spreadsheets. I don't want somebody saying, we're going to spend $1 million, none of your business where we spend it. That sometimes happens with domineering boards of directors. We are entitled to see the same information they had when they made the decision to assess us $4,100. Now, if they don't want to do that, we're going to have to have it. And I don't mind asking people. I have seen several projects in a similar financial condition get into serious trouble. And invariably, it was due to mismanagement by builders on new projects, and mismanagement by boards of directors on existing projects that results from the indifference of the owners about what's going on. I gotta ask you a question. I've been here 26 years. How many of you have attended a board meeting? Okay, that's good, but that's what I only have. I went to one.
Yep.
I have a conflict, I do a lot of charity work, and so I haven't bothered with the rest. But 26 years, I did the things right along, okay, everything seems to be hunky-dory and all, I guess they're taking care of it. This thing shocked me as much as it did you, but I know why it happened. Okay, there are some side benefits to this little financial fiasco that you must be aware of. I mentioned that FHA will not recertify a project in this financial condition, which means no refis, no new loans. So, if you're looking for an FHA loan, you might have trouble no matter where you go. FHA has wind of this, and they will get wind of it, and I'll tell you how this happens. You're gonna have problems. VA, Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae will react the same. They'll red flag the project. And there'll be an investigation if you wish to find out whether you're solvent or not. Okay.
Can you freeze your voice, getting softer?
What?
Your voice is getting softer.
Oh, I'll keep telling you.
It'd be helpful
Okay,
to
well, not
stand
going
there.
to.
and
Okay. In the process of refinancing or buying or selling, you have to deal with a number of entities, all of whom talk to each other. In the lending business, we're a massive brotherhood, even though sometimes we're adversaries. For one thing, any realtor who comes to visit your home to take a listing has to have you fill out a seller's disclosure statement. And in that statement, you have to identify, because you're expressly asked, what adverse conditions are, what assessments are, what other problems there are, and if you fail to do so, you do so at your own legal risk. The realtor takes no risk because he doesn't answer that questionnaire. So he will list your property. If you find a buyer, it's incumbent on you to identify the problems that you know exist to that buyer, and you certainly don't want to hide them. This will get you in serious trouble. This is going to cause a problem when you tell a guy we're got this assessment, we've got this and that that's wrong, you're just going to have to handle it. The next thing that happens is if you go to a lender, an appraiser will show up. That's where I started my career as an appraiser. In the last 25 or 30 years, and I've been doing this, I did it for 40 until I retired. The number of questions and the degree of legal liability for appraisers and realtors, incidentally, kept climbing. When the appraiser comes to your house, he will ask you the same questions that you filled out on the seller's agreement. Now, he can't afford to commit the sin of omission, we call it. If he doesn't report what he knows, he's in big trouble. He can lose his license. In some cases, they've gone to jail. Lenders, mortgage brokers, realtors, and appraisers have been sent to jail in the last 4 or 5 years for doing this sort of thing when they shouldn't be doing it. Okay. Next thing that happens is a building inspector will show up. That's something that didn't used to exist a few years ago. But if he's knowledgeable, thorough, and honest, he's going to pinpoint the problem, the leaky roofs, the siding that's falling out, all this kind of stuff. The bank's going to get his report and your appraisal. Well, then guess what happens? The underwriters and the appraisal supervisor will take a look at that. They're likely to red flag you or recommend modification of loan, which means it'll be a different set of terms than you might have been told. Higher rate, lesser amount, shorter term on the repayment. So these things, they're like an octopus. They've got tentacles. A lot of people will find out about it in a hurry. So the expectation that nobody's going to know is not realistic. Okay. That's the thing you have to know about this. This is one reason we have to cure this problem. Now, it can be avoided. I have to say in all honesty that the current city board is not responsible for this mess entirely. They may have contributed to it, but the problem goes back through several boards. several years ago because they did not understand how to do this and the necessity for setting aside these reserves. So come time to pay up, there was no money. Don't hang this strictly on the board that sits now. Everybody would like to throw rotten apples and tomatoes at them, I know, but it's not entirely their fault, but they have best get informed about this. Because once this work is done, they gotta start the whole process over because the roofs are gonna wear out again. The big boilers in the security buildings will fail in another 15, 20 years. The pool will need some work. So it's perpetual. It's just round, round, round. Okay. It says very specifically in here, and this is, I'm going to tell you the exact words. The Board of Managers, that's the columns that they're talking about correctly, shall upon the inception provide for an establishment of an adequate reserve fund for the periodic maintenance, repair, and replacement of the common elements, which fund shall continuously be maintained out of the annual assessments for common expenses. They figure what it's going to cost, figure out what you're going to have to pay into it. And there's no way around that. If they're not doing that, they're probably in violation of the law. I read the auditor's report end of year, and he said a couple things that disturbed me. This is dated December 31, 2011, 8 months ago. He says, I'll quote, the Board of Directors conducted a study in 1994, that's 18 years ago, to estimate the remaining useful lives and replacement costs of the components of common property. If this is accurate, nobody had looked at this problem since 1994. That's negligence. That's true on the worst time. It does say something else too. Amounts accumulated in this replacement fund may not be adequate to meet future needs. Now he's just speculating, sorry. For major repairs and replacements, because he's not talking about the adequacy of these funds. He's just saying if they're inadequate, like, you got a problem. It says, if additional funds are needed, the association has the right, subject to membership approval, that's us, to increase regular assessments, pass special assessments, or delay major repairs and replacements until funds are available. Critical point, we have the right to pass judgment on this. We can say yes or no. And in this case, where they want to tell us on August 27th how cows don't eat the cabbage, and then send us a bill on September 1, I don't like it and I don't subscribe to it. What you want to do about it is going to be up to you. Anyhow, I have other information that might answer some questions. That's my spiel. Any questions about this thing? Yes,
So-
ma'am.
What options are you suggesting? Because I heard what you said, the consequences of it, and I agree, but I'm just curious, what next steps are you suggesting?
Well, they're gonna hold a meeting with us on the 27th. My
Right.
suspicion is they'll try to gloss it over and say, guys, that's the way it is. I have to tell you this, we're gonna spend the money. There's no way around it. If the budget is valid, we don't know that right now. We've never seen it. I'd like to take a look at it and have several knowledgeable people look over it, myself, including some of the directors. If the budget appears to be based on realistic estimates of the repairs needed, then we're gonna have to pay that amount. If we don't agree with it, then we have to end up negotiating something. But the fact is, the money's gonna have to be spent. Mr. Conway had one good point. We're gonna have to do a large amount of expensive work to get this project back into a marketability condition. If you don't, keep running along.
Excuse me, over
I
here.
can see where roofs are needed, new boilers and so. What about this repaving? I mean, I don't see where there's a need for repaving. Certainly not at present.
Well, it doesn't look like it. They may have loaded it up, I don't know, I wasn't privy to this. This is
Woody,
why we need to
question,
take a look
Woody
at
over here.
There's two questions over here, Woody.
Woody, over here.
it. Okay. Yes, sir.
It's not so much the concern of the payment, it's the timing and how they went about asking for the money.
Really?
I mean, you come within a month and you say, well, hey, we need $2,000 within a month, and then another year we need $2,000, and realistically,